What's up, y'all? It's time to get into the tea with Love Lex P. Hey, y'all. It is bright and early Monday morning, and we back with another episode. So whether you're laying in bed, at work, listening in your car, wherever you at, thank you for tuning in. Y'all know we have a lot of tea to get into. So y'all know, per usual, we're going to do the hot topics first and then our homework at the end. So if you didn't do your homework from last week, press pause and go do it right quick. So your homework last week was to watch the American Crime Story, Gabby Petito, and to watch the first 6 episodes of Love is Blind. So we're going to get into all that towards the end of the episode, okay? So we got a lot to cover today. Y'all know, per usual, a lot went on in this past week, and it's time to get into the tea, y'all, okay? So we're going to start off talking about our good sis, Cardi B. Y'all know I love me some Cardi B, but she caused quite a stir last Friday because she was seen like either getting in or out the car with Stefan Diggs. I think that's who she's dating right now. One of them brothers that play football. And I mean, it is so crazy how when women choose themselves, how much men get into a frenzy. We saw the same thing with Ciara whenever Ciara moved on from Future and she got her Russell Wilson and he keeps impregnating her, keeps her happy. And I mean, the men would not stop calling Russell Wilson corny. And I think this is the thing that we need to realize. I don't care if you're square, if you're corny, if you poppin', whatever you are you a good person? Are you a good man? Are you going to treat me like something? I think we as people get so caught up in somebody being cool or not. Baby, this is not high school no more. Okay? So that's a little off topic. But yeah, back to Cardi. I think it's so crazy how we literally saw in real time a lot of the conflict that Offset and Cardi went through publicly. So imagine the things that she was having to deal with behind closed doors that they didn't let the public into. So the fact that her and Offset have gone their separate ways and she's dating, she's having fun. I don't necessarily think she's trying to marry the guy, but she deserves to have a good time. She has been in a marriage for a very long time. She's had 3 kids. She's still young. She makes a lot of money. She's freaking Cardi B. So I think the backlash that she's getting is deep rooted in a lot of misogyny. You know, the boys don't like that word. They don't like that word, but it's something that they created, okay? So I think that Cardi is having fun. She's doing what she's supposed to do. Let her enjoy life. I think one bad thing that comes with, not that I would know because obviously I'm not a celebrity, but I think one bad thing that comes with that fame and that celebrity is like they just can't live their lives and everything that they do gets picked apart. And I think it's so crazy how people move on from marriages and relationships all the time. What she is doing is not out of the norm. So all these think pieces of what is she supposed to be doing and she should be at home taking care of her kids, it's Offset's turn. Cardi been at home taking care of them kids. That's why we ain't got no album. It's time for Offset to babysit. Y'all know what I mean. Offset. That's what we're going to call him. Offset. Take care of them kids, Offset. It's your turn. So he recently dropped a TikTok video and it was basically saying you're going to have to mess with a lot of dudes to get over me. And it was like a cartoon or something of like a bunch of hot dogs going into this like cartoon character's mouth. And it was just so like, you are so hurt. It's coming from a place of hurt. I understand. But I think it's so crazy how men will drag women through the mud and they be surprised when they're like, hey, I'm fed up. I think she's just a fed up woman. You don't understand as men how tired we get of crying over the same thing. And I'll tell you this as a woman, to all the women out there, you cannot scream, you cannot cry, you cannot complain or nag a man into treating you right. He has to want to do that himself. And you have to keep going back to a man until you get fed up. So I don't think Cardi's doing anything wrong. I think she needs to focus on her career, have fun, drop the album, and do what she wants to do. She's made a lot of money. She does a lot of good for herself. So I'm proud of her. She's ready to get back outside and get her mind off of things. That's stressful. Can you imagine having 3 kids by somebody and they still be disrespecting you? No. So shout out to Cardi. But honestly, all jokes aside, I pray for the kids that they can learn how to co-parent properly and they learn to have a healthy relationship. Because at the end of the day, it's for them kids. What the kids name? Ice, Culture. I don't know. Child, you know them celebrities be naming them. That's some names on them. Picture Frame, Purse, Red Bottom. Y'all be giving y'all kids some names. But yes, shout out to them. Moving on. A$AP Rocky. Our good brother A$AP is free. He was found non-guilty on the assault charges that were pressed on him by A$AP Rocky. Now, I'm going to get into two things with this story. First things first. I'm not going to lie. I feel like a lot of this trial was covered based off the fact that his partner is Rihanna. You know, like the big thing from the trial was when he jumped over the little wall to hug Rihanna. Like that was just like the thing that's been playing on social media everywhere. So I think a lot of this trial was sensationalized because it's like, this is Rihanna, the father of Rihanna's children. Like, yes, it's A$AP Rocky, but you are Rihanna's baby daddy. So the girls are like, we need him to be free so she can be in a good mood to get in the studio. Like, we don't care about nothing. We just want Rihanna in a good mood so we can butter her up to get in that studio. So I do think that's why this trial was so heavily covered. Now, I want to get into the other side. I want to get into the actual case. Now, from what I understand, this case stems from, allegedly, I don't want nobody suing me. I got $269 in this Love Lex P account, okay? Allegedly, A$AP Rocky and his ex-friend, A$AP Rocky, were getting into a verbal altercation, and A$AP pulled out a gun and, I guess hit him with it. I don't know if he shot the gun, whatever the case may be, but a gun was pulled out and somebody got beat up and hurt. Oh yeah, the gun was shot because they said he was grazed with the bullet. A$AP really was grazed with the bullet. I'm sorry, y'all. So now that A$AP Rocky is free, I saw a lot of birdies saying like, I wonder if A$AP really is going to get the same treatment that Meg got. And everybody's like, no, because he's not a woman. Everybody's going to be like, oh, it's okay. I mean, of course, people are like laughing at him and like, oh, you did all that. And for what? Like, you did all that for what? But I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, I'll say this. If you have ever been a victim of any type of crime, any crime, and you want justice for yourself, the system wasn't on his side, unfortunately, but I don't think it's anything to make fun of or poke at him for. Now, do I think he's going to get drugged like Megan? I don't think so, because she's a black woman and y'all know how they treat black women. But also, Megan is on a superstar level that A$AP really is just not on. So I think that he is going to get a lot of backlash of people laughing at him. But the harassment that Meg got, because obviously Tory went to jail. He actually went to jail. So I think the people that are against Meg, it's just like, oh my gosh, you sent a black man to jail and blah, blah, blah. So if A$AP would have been found guilty, I think people would have been like, oh, well, too bad, A$AP. You shouldn't have pulled the gun out on somebody. Like, they would have been like, okay, you did the crime. You got to do your time. Versus Tory, doing what he did. It was more so like, oh, he made a mistake. He didn't even mean it. 10 years is excessive. You know what I'm saying? Again, if that would have been Kylie Jenner instead of Meg, or if that would have been a man instead of Meg, the narrative would have been completely different. But at the end of the day, I hope that A$AP has learned his lesson. I need you men, especially you family men who have wives, children, honestly, everybody, even if you don't have a family, y'all please get out these streets. You are dating Rihanna. What are you pistol whipping and shooting at somebody for? If you don't go rub on that lady feet so she can stand up and walk her ass to the studio, you know what I'm saying? You don't feel me, A$AP. I hope A$AP stays out of trouble so he can be a good family man. I think he is so creative. I think him and Rihanna can do some amazing stuff business-wise together. They make beautiful children. So I hope this is a lesson to him. And honestly, prayers up to A$AP really too. I mean, that was probably traumatizing for him. I've never been shot at. but I don't put myself in situations where I would be shot at as well. Okay. Moral of the story, y'all stay y'all ass out of trouble. Okay. So good luck to all parties involved. Okay. Moving on, y'all know I'm gonna give y'all some of this tea now. It's not a Love Lex P episode unless we dip into them other folks' business. Cause one thing they gonna do is dip into ours, okay? So I wanted to give y'all an update on the Blake Lively situation. So Blake Lively has made a statement and she's saying that she has a lot of witnesses who are going to speak out against Justin Baldoni, but they're scared, they're afraid. And they said that they feel like they're being intimidated. They have a fear of retaliation. She says it's a lot of people. She also says that Justin Baldoni made 2 other cast members on the It Ends With Us movie set uncomfortable. So there's allegedly 2, let me say allegedly, y'all. I got $2.63 now. It done went down since we started the episode. It done went down. So there's 2 more cast members that can corroborate, y'all know what the hell I meant, corroborate the story that Blake says. So I'm just interested to see where this is going to go. Because again, Blake and Ryan have been looking real funny in the lights. And I feel like, what do these witnesses necessarily have to be afraid of? Because out of Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds, Blake and Ryan are powerhouses. If anything, I would be afraid to be somebody that's on Justin's side. So these are statements that Blake is saying. She's saying that people are ready to speak out, but they're afraid to. She said there's 2 other cast members that can agree with her on what she said about Justin making people feel uncomfortable because he made these other 2 cast members feel uncomfortable as well. So that's where we're at right now. Like I said, this is getting messier and messier by the day. But I'm going to tell you one thing. When we get the verdict of this trial, it's going to have a big, big effect. Y'all have to realize how big Ryan Reynolds is. I don't think y'all understand. Ryan Reynolds literally produces and writes Marvel movies. Like, that's not just a little drop in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see what the verdict does. Because y'all know a lot of times Hollywood, even though it's such a dirty, dirty city, they like to play and pretend nice. So if a verdict comes out about somebody, they like to cut ties with people because of that. So if Ryan and Blake lose this case, I'm interested to see how Hollywood will treat their golden boy, Ryan Reynolds, if that happens. Allegedly. Okay, moving on. So Lavar Ball, y'all, I have some sad news. Lavar Ball had to get his foot removed recently. There's pictures floating around of him. Now, he did look happy, all smiles in the picture, but he's in a wheelchair. You can see he got his foot amputated. I don't know what it is, if it's the sugars, that runs rampant in the Black community, aka diabetes. I don't know what's going on with him, but prayers out to him. I think that's so devastating when you have to make a decision like, okay, I have to live. I have to cut off my foot. And a lot of times people think it's because of your diet or things or XYZ. Sometimes things are just inevitable. I don't know what's going on with him. I am not a doctor. Y'all can see I can barely pronounce some of these words. I don't know nothing about no medical field. All I know is when I be getting on WebMD because I got a headache, it be saying I got 3 days to live. So do not ask me about nothing. All I can do is send out prayers to Lavar Ball. That's devastating. But one thing I can say, I love Lavar Ball's spirit. Every time I see him, he is cracking on somebody. He's smiling. And even the picture of him coming out the hospital, he was all smiles. So prayers up to him and the Ball family through this time. Moving on. Now this, to me, has just been some hot tea that's been going on for years. So NeYo has added another woman to his harem. So if you don't know, NeYo is a very open polygamist. He has been having multiple girlfriends since him and his ex-wife has split. NeYo has always just been known for being like kind of a womanizer a little bit, but everybody has things to say about him like, oh my gosh. They have things to say about the women. Oh, they look trashy or they look ghetto. This is so dirty of NeYo and all of this stuff. So he added a 4th girlfriend. So I think, yeah, it's 4 of them now, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what I have to say. And y'all probably not going to agree with me, but let that man be. This is the issue. Y'all try to push monogamy on men who don't want that, and they end up getting married and literally crushing a woman because they're not meant to be with one person. If that man knows that he can't be with one woman and he found what works for him, please let him be where he is supposed to be. I don't see anything wrong with what NeYo is doing because it seems like the women are enjoying it. He can obviously afford it. Let that man do what he needs to do. I don't understand why y'all try to push monogamy on people who do not want to be monogamous. Because the things that he put Crystal through, that was a lot. Imagine going through your husband. This is not your boyfriend. This is your husband, the father of your children. And you find out he's talking to all these women. And I'm not saying what he did was okay. But I think that is because society made NeYo feel like I'm only supposed to be with one woman. That doesn't work for everyone. Me personally, I want a monogamous man. Okay, so I'm going to seek someone who is into monogamy. A lot of these men are denying themselves of what they really want because of society. And I hate to agree with men because y'all still be liars. Y'all still are not good people. So don't get it twisted. I'm not on your side. I'm on NeYo's side because I feel like he's living in his truth and he's happy. And I hope he's still taking care of his family and taking care of his kids and doing what he needs to do. Nobody's getting hurt. So let that man be. Let the girls be happy. Okay. Now, moving on again. Y'all know I have to talk about my good sis, Tia Kemp. So Tia Kemp recently, I have to laugh because one thing about Tia, she speaks her mind and she don't care. So Tia Kemp recently went online and said BBLs are not for the 9-to-5 girlies. You look crazy, go and get a BBL and going back to work at the doctor's office or going back to work at the library or going to be a teacher or whatever you're doing. She's like, BBLs is for the girls who's trying to get outside. Like, if you get a BBL, yeah, you better be in Dubai working. You're supposed to be in Miami working and all this and XYZ.
BBLs is for tricking. I don't think y'all know that. The BBLs ain't for you go sit back on your job and walk around your job with a BBL. It's not. See, y'all better be glad that I'm okay with what I got, because you go get them BBLs and you ain't doing what you're supposed to do with them. Now, I like the hoes that's doing what they got to do with them BBLs. There's some of them out here, they on the trips, they working them BBLs. The death girl, they going around the overseas and all that. They slapping that ass on them Emirates. They ain't never seen like that in their mother lives. See, them hoes working.
So I have 2 things to say about that. As a BBL connoisseur myself. So, first, I want to say this. I am an advocate for doing whatever you want to your body for yourself. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say certain things aren't done for the male gaze. Like, a lot of things that women do are rooted in wanting to attract a man in XYZ. But I will say, I hope that as time has grown and things have shown, a BBL doesn't really get you anything. Now, if you like a young girl, maybe you want to get outside and get flued out and get a purse or bag. I mean, yeah, that's cool. But I'm telling you, the men is not doing that like they used to. Like 2015, 2016, when I popped out with my BBL in 2016, the man was still spending then, okay? You was going to get a trip. You was going to get the rent paid up. You was going to get XYZ. Times is really not like that anymore because of social media. Girls want to put people on blast, all this stuff. So I feel like the BBL times are a little different now, but I also think if you want to get a BBL because you want to look in the mirror and you want to like what you see, I think that's okay. I don't think that you should get a BBL just to be outside. I think you should get a BBL if you want one. I'm not saying get one. I'm saying if that's what you want to do, it's because you need to look in the mirror and be happy. But I will say, you have to work on your confidence within yourself, because one thing you will do is you will botch yourself. Because if you look in the mirror and you're unhappy and then you get the BBL, you're still unhappy, that knife can't fix your heart and your mind and how you feel about yourself. Okay? So you have to do a lot of work internally before you lay your butt down on that table. Because one thing about it, an hourglass shape is not in style. It's never going out of style. It just is what it is. An hourglass shape, for women, they make us feel like if you don't have that hourglass shape, you're not feminine, XYZ. So I can understand that want of that hourglass shape. I always said, don't get those huge, badonkadonk, big, huge butts. Now that's something that I think is trendy, but I think that getting a BBL just to kind of be outside and try to snag you one, a baller, is crazy. Because also these ballers, think about the ballers that were relevant in 2016, the rappers who were relevant in 2016 that aren't relevant today. So I think that getting a BBL to be outside is kind of silly. So if you're a 9-to-5 woman and you want a BBL just because you want to, you want to fit your clothes better, you want to look better when you feel better when you look in the mirror, I think that's okay. I think we should start doing things that make ourselves happy and not what makes others happy. You know what I mean? Okay. So I get where Tia was coming from, but also outside ain't outsiding like it is no more. So you can get a BBL all you want in 2025, but everybody got a BBL in 2025. So it's like Hunger Games. It's like Hunger Games for these men with money. So good luck and Godspeed. In 2016, when I popped out with my BBL, it was like, oh my Lord. Where did this alien come from? Because girls wasn't getting them like that. Now it's like, okay, girl, you got a fat ass in a small waist. Join the club. Join the club, child. It is not exclusive no more, okay? Moving on. So I'm going to get into a little TikTok tea, y'all. It's some TikTok tea going on, and it's crazy right now. So there is this girl. Her name on TikTok is like SlimThickKim. Y'all wanted me to cover this, so I'm going to just do a brief little thought on it. If you don't know what's going on, I'm going to give you a brief rundown. So a girl named SlimThickKim on TikTok tells this story about how she flew out to see a YN in Atlanta and he was capped. So she said that she saw this guy on Instagram. She thought he was a catfish. She went to his page and it looked like he had motion. He got watches, showing money, flashing cars, all this stuff. So she was like, okay, well, let me see what he's talking about.
Story time on when I flew to another state to meet this young lit nigga that's lit on the internet. And to me, I felt like he was cat. So yeah, I met him on the internet. I was in Bahamas like the beginning of January for my son. I'm sorry, the beginning of February for my son's birthday or whatever. And he DM'd me on Instagram like, need you. So I'm like, oh, I've been trying to give you me or whatever like that. So he like, whatever. We gonna exchange numbers or what? So I'm like, yeah, because like, he's some fine shit. Like, I love dark-skinned niggas. And when I say he's some fine shit, bitch, he's some fine shit. Or whatever like that. So on the internet, like, he got 2 watches, big Cardi, 6 cars, supposedly own his house, and he young as fuck, or whatever. Like that. Dressed nice, always designer down, like always posting mad money, etc. So, like, that's my type. I love me a hood, get money nigga. So he asked for my number or whatever like that. So I gave him my number. And like he texted me, and I'm not gonna lie, like it was little signs that I didn't like. Like if I'm on vacation with my kids, like I remember I posted my drink or whatever, and I didn't text him right back. And he was on my phone like, "Oh, you see me text you or whatever, but you posting." Like that right there was like you only have my number for like 20 minutes, like chill out. But I let him slide.
So they start going back and forth in the DMs, end up exchanging numbers, talking. She said that he flew her out, and when she got there, he was like, "Oh, I have my daughter." Blah, blah, blah. But actually, before she went there, he started telling her, hey, I'm going to have my daughter this weekend, so I don't know how this weekend is going to go. And kind of basically, to me, when she said this, I would have said, okay, well, let me come another weekend because I want to have you to myself. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we've been talking in XYZ. So she was like, well, I already bought my flight. I already checked in, which that don't make no sense because I don't care if it's like 2 hours before your flight. You can still cancel your flight, but I don't know. So she still decides to hop her little pretty self on that flight, get to Atlanta. She has trouble finding a room because it's Valentine's Day weekend. Long story short, he doesn't end up paying for the room. They go back and forth about it. She gets mad because she doesn't get to see him. And she's like, basically, I figured out he kept. He don't got no money. And so don't waste your time. She's like, I'm 31 years old. I got 3 kids. I don't play no games. I thought he was like a YN. Like, I'm used to dealing with rappers and athletes. Like, $300 for a hotel room ain't no big deal. Like, she just getting on him. And I'm like, dang, like, that's crazy because she's 31. I'm 35. She's in her early 30s. I'm in my mid 30s. But I can say, like, as a 31-year-old, I never really talked to younger guys ever. It's hard enough dealing with men who are in their mid 30s and beyond because they're childish. So my first red flag for her was like, you're 31 with 3 kids. Why are you talking to somebody that's in their 20s? If anybody identifies as a YN, no offense to the YNs out there, you are not auntie's type. Okay? So then I don't think she thought the story was going to go so crazy. Story ends up going viral. I guess people start sending the story to him. Y'all, when I tell y'all he dropped the text messages and it was just devastating.
All right, look, this is going to be called the part 1 of if you're going to tell the story, then tell the full truth, you feel me? This part 1 though. So look, right, let me get this like straight to y'all. First and foremost, I'm not a YN, you know what I'm saying? I'm 25 years old, you know? But check this out. I'm not from Atlanta at all. You feel me? I live in Atlanta now. I'm from Iraq. You feel me? But all this, like, okay, well, we gonna start off with the whole he flew me out type thing. You know, I never flew out. So this whole oh yeah, he flew me out and put me on Spirit Airlines. Shit is cap. You know what I'm saying? I never flew out. I never paid for no flight. You feel me? None of that. You get what I'm saying? Now I really don't know how to work it as far as in like if I can post the messages when I'm talking type shit. I don't know if I can do that shit on here, but I'm finna try it though.
The text messages basically show her being extremely thirsty. Like, oh, I guess I'll just see you when I'm in Atlanta. He was like, all right, yeah, just hit me if you ever in Atlanta, you know, we can link up or whatever. And like later on, she just randomly texted him, I booked it. Like, I booked the flight. I got it. I'm on my way, boo. Like, he never asked you to book a flight, sis. Oh my gosh. And it just bothers me so much because this girl is so pretty. So when the guy responded, he was basically saying like, the girl is pretty, but she's giving catfish because she doesn't look like her pictures. He's like, I'm not saying she's ugly. She doesn't look like her pictures. So I'm like, well, let me go and look at this girl's pictures because I'm looking at her videos. Now, mind you, a lot of her videos are heavily filtered. So I did find a video that wasn't filtered where she was kind of like rapping. I think she's a rapper as well. So she's like rapping. And I'm like, okay, this girl is really, really pretty. So what's the issue? I go to her photos and I get what he was saying. She does look like her pictures, but she kind of doesn't. It's this slight tweak like that certain editing apps do where it kind of like, it just slims your face. It'll like slim your nose, pout your lips up. It just gives you like certain features. It just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but if you're a girly girl who have used these apps before, which I used to use these apps a lot, I get it. Trust me, I get it. So the girl is beautiful, but I get what he means by like, she didn't exactly look like her pictures. So the girl is like sending him pictures of like throat spray and stuff. And he's like, you got a sore throat? Oh my gosh, embarrassing. Like she was trying to allude to like giving him head. Girl, she was throwing that coochie out there and he was not trying to catch it. So I think it came, and he said this, he was like, it came off to me like she was just too thirsty for me. I want this to be a lesson to all women, young and old. Do not chase men. Do not chase men. Men are natural they want to chase their prey, okay? They do not like being chased. Any man who likes to be chased is not the man you want to date, okay? So I understand you may see a young man that has money. It seems like he got his shit together. That's not the route you want to take. And on top of that, you are 31 with 3 kids. You should be trying to find a man with stability. This little boy is a scammer. He is a scammer. He can't do nothing for you. Okay? I just think we need to raise our standards, especially if we have children. Like, you have to set an example. I don't know, y'all. It was just really embarrassing for her. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl. And she was like, I be talking to rappers. And I guess somebody found out it was like Boss Man D-Lo that she was talking about. Now Boss Man D-Lo catching strays. He ain't even do nothing. He was bad at fucking school. All he trying to do is eat his hibachi And y'all over there bothering that man. He ain't do nothing. He's not even in this. He said bad bitch 54 eating about you. And y'all bothering him. I know Bossman D-Lo was like, how did I get in it? Now, why am I in it? I ain't even did nothing. So, all in all, I think the story was embarrassing. The more the girl talks and drops stories, it just doesn't look good for her. So, I really just hope she kind of just stays quiet. It's a lesson for her. The young man, he probably living it up right now because I know women are looking at him like, oh, he didn't do that for her, but I bet you he'll do it for me. Because women are always like, I don't know. Women are so weird when it comes to stuff like that. They love to be like, oh, she couldn't conquer him, but I can. So I know his DMs are flooded with the girls right now trying to, impress him or whatever the case may be. So I just hope this is a lesson to all. Stop chasing men. I don't care how fine you think he is, how much money you think he got. It is a lot of reward in being a little mysterious and being the girl that's hard to get. Okay? I don't care what Slim Thug said. Be that girl that's hard to get. All right, so moving on into our homework, okay? So the first thing I wanted to get into today is the American Crime Story Gabby Petito. So I really remember when the Gabby Petito story dropped, but I never really got into it. I am into true crime, y'all know that, but it was just like one of those stories where it was getting updated every day and so much was going on. So I never really got into it. So when I found out that they were coming out with a documentary about it, I was like, oh, good. Finally, I can see what was going on. First, let me say this. I had no idea she was so young. This girl was 21, 22 years old, and my heart really just broke for her. So I want to get into the gist of the story, and then I want to give my theories, and I also want to hear y'all's theories on what y'all think after you've watched the documentary. So the story starts off with Gabby Petito. She's a young girl. She rekindles a friendship from high school. Her and the guy, Brian, they were cool. Not very, very cool, but they end up rekindling after graduation. They end up in a relationship. So her and Brian are together. She decides, you know what? I want to chase my dreams. I want to be a vlogger. I want to backpack across the states with my boyfriend, and I want to document it. I want to vlog and all this good stuff. So that's what's so crazy about this story. You can see a lot of their dynamic actually on film. It literally, it just gives me the chills because you notice like Gabby she seemed like a very bubbly woman. She's very high energy, sweet, always giving out positive energy. But Brian, if you went to look at his page, he had a very like dark side. Like his art was very, very dark compared to hers. So that was kind of like a red flag for people who were close to her because they were like, I don't really understand how they mesh, well together. So Gabby had a close friend to her that she met, and she was saying how her and Gabby hung out a lot, and she noticed that like Brian would get very jealous of their relationship. And she was like, that's when I kind of first noticed that I don't think that Brian is a good fit for Gabby, but she loves him. She was always just trying to accommodate her life to make Brian happy. So fast forward, Brian and Gabby saves up her money. She buys this van. Her and Brian renovate the van so they can basically live out of it. And they're going, slapping Gabby, repeatedly slapping her. So they call the police, and they actually have these calls on record. So somebody calls the police like, hey, I see these two people fighting. This guy is literally like slapping this girl. So fast forward, the police pull Gabby and Brian over. Gabby is distraught. She's crying. I mean, she is like, she can barely talk. She's like, my anxiety gets bad. She starts, yes, me and Brian were arguing, and Brian's like laughing. He's literally like, yeah, she just starts hitting me. And I'm just kind of like, and his demeanor, it was just like pure evil. Like it was just the weirdest thing, because how can you see the person you claim to love literally distraught in tears, and you're like laughing and joking with the officers? That moment right there, if the officers, I believe, would have asked the right questions, Gabby could have been alive today. Gabby put it on herself like, oh yeah, I hit him first, but blah, blah, blah. Gabby is tiny. She is tiny. So for the officers to believe that this tiny girl was the aggressor, The people who called, the witnesses literally say they saw Brian slapping Gabby. And the fact that they didn't do any more research, they just took their word for it. And Brian was like, yeah, she was the aggressor. And she was like, yeah, I was the aggressor. Anybody who has ever been in a domestic violence situation, you know that as a woman, especially, you always tend to blame yourself. Oh, he hit me because of that. Oh, I triggered him. It's like, it's natural to blame yourself. So as police officers, that's something that definitely raised a flag for me, is like, why didn't they ask more questions? Because a lot of the times when women are murdered by their partners, the signs are always there, but they're always blaming themselves. I just feel like it's obvious she was just trying to take the blame because she didn't want Brian to get in trouble. Now, I'm not saying that there are not men who are victims of domestic violence, but Brian was not one of them. So, so they separate them. They actually put Brian in a hotel. They paid for Brian to be in a hotel. Like, they have some kind of program for domestic violence victims, and they can get him a hotel for the night. So Gabby drives off in her van. Brian goes back to the hotel. The police tell them not to contact each other for the night and just wait till the morning. Of course, they end up contacting each other, getting back together, and continuing their road trip. So as time goes on, Gabby ends up, just not responding to her parents. Everybody's trying to get in touch with her. Nobody's responding. Finally, Gabby sends like a weird text message to her mother, and she's just like, hey, can you help Stan? Stan is her grandfather. So I guess her grandfather was texting her phone and calling her, and she like, hey, mom, can you help Stan with something, and blah, blah, blah. And it was just like a really weird text message that didn't sound like her. So Gabby is like missing. Weeks have gone by. Nobody's heard from Gabby. She's just completely missing. Brian pops up at home. In Gabby's van. Gabby is nowhere to be found. Now, they have all this on the police body cam, y'all. The police show up to Gabby's, they show up to Brian's here, but where's Gabby? Brian is literally in the house hiding out. And I just think that Brian Laundrie's parents are the most disgusting, vile humans to ever walk this earth, only second to their son. Because as a parent, how dare you not give another set of parents answers to where their child is? Gabby's parents were continuously reaching out to Brian's parents with no avail. They weren't responding. I think they eventually blocked Gabby's parents to where they couldn't even reach out to them. So I believe Gabby, after a major search went on, they were able to minimize the area that Gabby was in, because other campers and vloggers who were in that area had ended up finding Gabby's van. They found the van on one of their vlogs. So they actually found the area that Gabby was in, honed in, and they found Gabby's body. So when they found Gabby's body, they said she was in the fetal position, and she was pretty much like, still intact. Like, her body wasn't deteriorated like too bad. They could pretty much identify that it was Gabby. And so the family was notified, and immediately Brian was like the number one suspect. As soon as they found Gabby's body, they were like, okay, let's go get Brian. Because remember, before then, they could not arrest Brian because they didn't have a body. Gabby could have still been alive and just ran away. So once they found Gabby's body, they were like, okay, let's go arrest Brian. Brian is missing. So again, parents are not cooperating. All they say was, last time we heard from Brian, he went on a hike. They find Brian's car, and they're doing like a major wide search. They can't find his body, right? So finally, like 2 or 3 weeks later, they open up the park, because they had shut the park down that he went hiking at, so they could look for it. But also it was flooding. It was flooding a lot, so they had shut the park down. So once the flood waters had went down, they were like, okay, let's go try to find Brian. And the parents were like, let's go help. Do y'all know that within an hour of searching for Brian's body, the parents found Brian's body? They found his body Within an hour of searching for him, mind you, the police couldn't find his body for like the whole 3-4 weeks they were searching for him. They found his body and it was just bones. It was just bones. And the autopsy said that he died from a gunshot wound. And he basically left a suicide note saying that him and Gabby were traveling through walking through a river. Gabby got hurt. And she was basically begging him to kill her because she couldn't make it because she was just in such pain. So he said it was kind of like a mercy killing and he was doing the right thing. But now he can see that he didn't do the right thing. And so he can't live without her. So he's killing himself. First of all, and I don't know how true this is, but they're saying that Brian's uncle is the person who ran the DNA test, ran the dental records or whatever to confirm it was Brian. I don't think that was Brian's body. I don't think it was. I think Brian is still alive and well. He's out the country somewhere and his parents helped cover it up. It's some kind of big conspiracy theory. I don't know where Brian is, but I'm telling you, I do not think Brian's dead. The fact that the parents found his body and they found this suicide note, and y'all also have to remember, the mom wrote a note to Brian that was found. And in the note, she said, I don't care if I have to hide a body for you. You're my son. I will do that. So to wrap this up, I'm sorry, y'all, this is long because it's just a crazy story. Brian killed Gabby and then killed himself. I do not believe Brian is dead, but I also think that the police kind of just feel like, okay, well, this is the end to the story. Y'all have to realize how many people get murdered a day. A lot of times these police, they don't really care to do a lot of research and go into stuff. They just want to close the case. So I really hope that somebody really picks this up and deep dives into it to get more answers. Because the fact that they found Brian around the same time that they, I think 3-4 weeks passed, they found Brian's body, which was about the same amount of time that time had passed when they found Gabby's body. Gabby's body was still intact. Brian's body wasn't. That makes no sense to me. It takes a long time for a body to decompose. So I feel like for Gabby to not be decomposed and Brian was decomposed because those were not his bones. I think Brian's parents need to be questioned. I think they need to be possibly in jail. I don't think they had any involvement in Gabby's murder, but I do think that they have involvement in hiding Brian. I very much believe that Brian is still alive. I don't know. It's a crazy, crazy story. But again, any women out there, if you feel even a slight sign that you are in an abusive relationship, girl, leave that man. It is not worth your life. I know it's easier said than done, but prayers out to Gabby Petito's family and everybody involved. And I really just hope that justice is served to Brian's parents because they do not talk to the media. They never did. They never really cooperated with the police, and they know a lot more than they're letting on. And I think Gabby's parents deserve that closure. All right, moving on. Moving on. Ooh, y'all, I got to get out my notes for this. So we are getting into Love is Blind. Love is Blind. So last week I said, Love is Blind. I thought it was in Atlanta. Baby, that shit is in Minnesota. It's in Minnesota. So y'all already know the cast is a lot of this. So I'm not going to lie to y'all. Love is Blind. The first 6 episodes are so boring. So if you did your homework and you made it through, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sorry. I had no idea it was going to be this boring. Love is Blind is usually very, very good. When I tell y'all, I was struggling to make it through the first 6 episodes. So what I was originally going to do was I was going to break it down by character. I can't because it's so boring. So what I'm going to do is break it down per love triangle and couple. Okay. So what I will say, this was very hard for me to break down because everybody look alike. I mean, the whole cast, I'm sorry if that sounds bad. Everybody look alike. I can't tell Tim from Jim from him. It's very, very hard, okay? So I'm going to start off with the one love triangle that we have that's of color. So I'm going to start off with Virginia, Devin, and Brittany. I think that's how she said you said her name. So Virginia is absolutely stunning. gorgeous. Love her down. She is a doctor. She is paid. She is beautiful. But the personality, it's a little bland for me. So I hope in the coming episodes she comes out of her shell a little more. Brittany is gorgeous too. I love Brittany. She seems more like the down to earth, like homegirl type. Now, Devin is younger than both Virginia and Brittany. So I feel like I don't find Devin to be a good match for either one of them. I don't want to say Virginia is too good for Devin. I just think she's a little more secure and settled in her life. If I can say that the nice way, she's a doctor. Devin is a youth basketball coach. Youth. I didn't say NBA. I didn't say college. Youth. Okay? So you get where I'm going with that. I just think he's a little too young. The pay grade might be a little below of what Virginia needs. I always believe in a good, equally yoked couple or somewhere around that agency. Brittany, I hate to say this, Brittany is a little too gay for Devin. Brittany wants her, I don't know what, I know Brittany wants a husband. I think that Brittany has a lot of work to do within herself because Brittany, you want some coochie. You want some coochie, Brittany, and that's okay. I don't think you should deny yourself of that. I think you should have a child and be married to a woman because, baby, let me tell y'all what happened. She basically told Devin that she had dated women before. She's been emotionally attached to women, but it doesn't work out with women. She sees herself marrying a man. Devin didn't like that. He did not react to it well. Y'all, the next scene when Brittany was dumping Devin, baby, it looked like she had on a 3-piece suit. Like Janelle Monáe, baby. She came in there, legs spread wide open, like, yeah, bruh. Shit, this ain't gonna work, my boy. I'm cool on it. It was like, who is this young man? That's who Brittany really is. But I loved Brittany. I just think Brittany is trying to force herself to be in a straight relationship. Brittany, go get you some coochie, girl. It is okay. But allegedly, Brittany did get engaged to someone, which I don't know why they didn't show that. But yeah, allegedly she did get engaged. Virginia and Devin are moving forward. I'm interested to see how their dynamic will be. I just don't think Devin is man enough for Virginia. You know, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Okay, so moving on, y'all. This one is crazy. So we have a love triangle. I'm putting all the pictures up. Mason, Madison, Meg, and Alex. First of all, they all look alike. This is giving Brady Bunch. I don't know who is from who. But I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown. It's basically a foursome going on. Madison is talking to Mason and Alex, as well as Meg is talking to Mason and Alex. So I don't like Madison. I didn't like Madison from day one. I felt like she is a chameleon. And whoever she's talking to, that depends on her personality. She was acting like a freak-a-leak with Mason. And it was just coming off weird, talking about, oh, I can twerk. Yeah, I'm twerking right now. Like, what? It was so weird and so uncomfortable. And baby, that is not a twerk. I think it's so crazy how these people be feeling like they are so down because they know how to twerk. Child, it was really weird. And then she starts talking about her nipples. It was very weird. Then she tried to get sexual with Alex as well, but Alex shut it down really quick. He let her know that made him uncomfortable. So she was trying to be more like a prude with Alex. So that's why I said, I don't even know Madison's personality. Like, who are you for real? Meg gives me like tree hugger vibes, girl's girl. One thing I did like Megan. I do. I feel like she kept the same energy with everybody. The way she was with Mason was the same way she was with Alex. But I feel like Mason was trying too hard to like, fit in with kind of Meg's views and stuff and things like that. It seemed like he was trying to mold himself to fit what she liked. But Mason was also like, oh, I'm a freak. So Mason is kind of like Meg too. I don't know. It's weird. Alex was kind of going back and forth with both Megan and Madison. It was just a bunch of going back and forth. Madison gets jealous because she realized that it seemed like both of the boys started liking Megan more than they liked her. It was just a mess. And y'all, they followed this entire storyline for all 6 episodes, only for none of these people in this foursome going on, none of them get engaged. So I don't know what the Love is Blind people are doing this season. Y'all say that y'all care about the storylines of people really falling in love, but instead of following this foursome around for no reason, we could have followed the storyline of Brittany and whoever she got engaged to. That was stupid. No, thank you. Pass. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the other three people who look alike. Okay. Well, these people don't look alike. They don't. I'm just playing. So we have Lauren, David, and Molly. So first of all, David is a big walking red flag. He's shallow as hell. He's obsessed with his sister. And David is a baddie. He wants somebody. Remember how I told you he likes to be chased? David is one of the men who is like, you're supposed to chase me. I'm the baddie. David, please sit down. I don't like David at all. He was playing Molly and Lauren by having the same conversation with both of these girls, which I think is crazy. Haven't we learned from past seasons to stop having the same conversation with one lady? Stop doing that. Please stop doing that. So Molly to me is a red flag as well, because you're 29, never been in a relationship, but so you want your first boyfriend to pretty much be your husband. I think Molly needs to date in the real world and figure out what she likes and what she doesn't like. And before you come in Love is Blind and jump off the deep end. But Molly was really sweet. I just don't think Love is Blind is the show for her. And Lauren is a pick-me. Lauren is very much a pick-me. It seems like she was basically forcing David, like, pick me, choose me, love me. Y'all remember when, what's her name said that on Grey's Anatomy? Meredith. Lauren is a pick-me. So David ends up picking Lauren. I feel like Lauren kind of forced that on him, but she was throwing herself so much at him. I think he liked that she was like kissing his ass. And it was weird because it broke Molly's heart, but Lauren had this like weird like smile on her face when Molly came out like sad and crying and basically telling her that David was going to pick her. It was just a very weird like love triangle. Lauren is weird. David is weird. They probably belong together. Ben and Sarah, boring as hell. Ben got MAGA dick. Okay? Ben don't give a damn about black people. He don't give a damn about gay people. He don't care about nothing that you talking about. Sarah, you need to date Dr. Umar. You need a woke king. You are a woke queen.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
I love Sarah. Very cute, but you are barking up the wrong tree with Ben. None of y'all's morals align. This is not the man for you. This is not going to work out. I don't see how you don't see it. Hopefully you will see it, but they end up getting engaged, whatever. We'll see what's going to happen with them. Joe and Monica, they got engaged on episode 2. I'm going to break this down for you. Who cares? Joe and Monica is the couple that like, we're like, okay, where did this come from? When they met each other, all they kept doing was going, oh my God, oh my God, I can't, oh my God, I can't, oh my God. It was so weird. But I told y'all. And the last boring couple is Taylor and Daniel. And we weren't paying attention to none of their conversations at all. But on the end of episode 6, Taylor basically says that Daniel knows her from Instagram. And she's like, he knew what I looked like this whole time. You didn't play fair. Girl. And I get it. You want to have the experience of Love is Blind. So you kind of feel like you're robbed of the experience. If you're talking to somebody who already knows what you look like, it's kind of unfair. But at the same time, again, I feel like this is just Love is Blind trying to reach for some dramatic storyline. We want to see the people who get married. We need another Lauren and Cameron. I don't know how Love is Blind just keeps missing the mark. But we asked to see more real connections, and all y'all did was give us 6 pod episodes. 6. So we're going to hold in there. Hold on. We're going to finish the Love is Blind season. We're going to stick it out. If you haven't watched the first 6 episodes yet, you really don't need to. Really just watch episode 5 and 6. Like, you can really skip a lot of it. It's just pod episodes, but we're going to push through. So for your homework for next week, we're going to watch the next episodes of Love is Blind, okay? We are going to finish it out, and we're going to stick it through, y'all. And I have some more homework for y'all. I don't know how good this movie gonna be, but I feel like the movies I want to start reviewing is I want to do like movies. I'm gonna do all types of movies, but I'm always gonna make sure we do like a black movie because we need to start getting more black movies out there and talked about. Okay, Mary J. Blige has a movie that just came out. It's called Mary J. Blige's Family Affair. It stars Da Vinci. Da Vinci's in it, and it's another girl. She's really pretty. She played in Tyler Perry's Acrimony. She was Taraji's character when she was younger. I can't remember her name right now. So yes, it's called Mary J. Blige's Family Affair. It's on Amazon Prime. So that's going to be our homework for this week. I hope it's good. If it's bad, we finna clown and act a fool. I love me some Mary J, so hopefully it is good. So yeah, that'll be y'all's homework. Love is Blind and Family Affair. I'm sorry, y'all. I was really chatty today. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. We had 2 really good breakdowns today. Like I said, I know Love is Blind is boring, but we gonna stick it out. We gonna finish it. So make sure y'all do y'all's homework for next week, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye, y'all.